Good afternoon. My name is Jordyn and I'll be your counselor today.
Hi Jordan, my name is Brianna.
How are you doing today, Brianna?
I'm alright, how are you?
I'm doing well. Before we start our counseling session, I would like to remind you that this counseling session will be confidential. The only people that will listen to this is our instructor and classmates, okay?
Okay.
All right, so what brought you in today?
I am having some personal issues regarding my father.
Okay, could you explain to me in detail the personal issues that you're having?
The main issue is our communication with each other. Um, he doesn't really like to communicate as much with me at all. He doesn't seem to care about even communicating with his only child.
You feel frustrated?
Yes, I feel very frustrated.
Okay, so could you tell me how you feel frustrated with your father?
I feel frustrated with him because when I try to communicate to him, it goes in one ear and out the other, and it makes me feel as if he doesn't care about what I'm communicating to him, regardless if it's something small or something really serious. It's like he just pushes away and doesn't really care about what I'm saying to him.
So you feel alone because he's not listening to you?
Yeah, I feel very alone when he's not speaking or listening to me.
So could you elaborate on how this all started? What started the communication not being functional?
It first started back in 2013 when my mom passed away, and it was just me and him. Since my sisters are older, so they were out the house. And then a year after my mom passed away, he went to jail for a couple of years, and just recently he got out of jail, probably 2 years ago. And so when he was in jail, we didn't communicate as much because in jail you don't get to speak to your loved ones as often as you should or you wanted to. So I made it a priority when he got out of jail that I was going to communicate more with him. And when he was in jail, he said that he was going to do the same for me. But now that he's been out for a couple of years, it's like he hasn't kept his word about communicating with me.
So you're saying that you feel distraught because the disconnection you and your father had based on your mother passing away?
Yes.
Okay, so how old were you when this all started?
I was 12 years old when my mom passed, and I just turned 13 when my dad went to jail.
Okay. So how was your relationship before your mother passed away with you and your father?
Me and my dad, we were really close. I would tell my dad everything that happened, regardless if it was with boys that I like, or even if I just wanted to go out. Me and him, we did everything together. Like, he would make priority one week of the night, we would go out to eat, or we would do something, stay home, just me and him. So our relationship was good when my mom was here.
So it seems to me that, like you were saying before, your relationship was good. However, when something affected it, it became even worse.
Mhm.
Okay, how was your relationship with you and your mother?
Me and my mom, that was my best friend. I knew if I couldn't reach out to my dad or my sisters, I knew my mom was there. She wouldn't judge me, or she just wouldn't turn her back on me. Me and her, we had a great relationship. We would even bake cookies. We would make food all the time with each other. She was truly my best friend.
So you feel alone because your mother passed away and you don't have that same person, excuse me, to communicate with anymore, and that your father is in and out of your life, so you can't communicate with him well?
Yes, I feel very alone.
Okay, so could you tell me a little bit more about you and your father's communication?
Um, yes, me and my father's communication is very rocky. One day, if I communicate something to him, I'm about to go to class, he'll text back, okay, have a great day. Or the next day, if I text him the same message, he won't reply. Or I'll text him again saying I love him or something, and he never replies. And sometimes I won't hear from him. Sometimes it would just be a day or two. And one time it was 2 weeks I haven't heard from him.
So is that frustrating to you, and sometimes you can be aggravated because he's not responding the way he used to before your mother passed away?
Yes, it's very frustrating because he knows that I only have him left, since my mom isn't here. It's frustrating how he can't even communicate or even hear me out on the issues that I'm going through, regardless if it's with him or, with school or anything that I'm going on in my personal life.
Have you tried to sit down with your father to have a conversation so that you can let him know how you actually feel?
Yes, I've tried on multiple occasions, and it's like he'll hear me out, and then a couple days later, things go back to how they were. Miscommunication, not even communicating to me. It's just like he cared for the 2 seconds that we were talking, and then just pushed it behind him, thinking that I was going to forget about what we talked about.
Well, I do want to say that you did good taking the initiative to talking to your father and expressing how he felt, regardless if he wasn't really there to understand what you were saying. However, what are some ways that you could try to communicate differently so that your bond can come closer with you and your father?
I think probably communicate differently because my father, he's the type of person that if he feels like somebody's coming at him the wrong way, that he just kind of like shuts down and doesn't care. So I feel like I can communicate more positive way to him and let him know that like I still love him. It's just some things we just gotta work on, even if it's separate or together. We work on it. Be more positive in the communication skills.
Okay, so I hear you saying you feel aggravated because you haven't particularly found a way how to talk to him to get him to understand.
Yes, very much so.
Okay, so let's think about some different ways that we can, different communication skills that you can say to your father.
Okay.
You can take your time. It's some tissue right there if you would like some.
Thank you.
Brianna, would you like to talk again?
Yes.
Okay, so what would you like to start saying?
I feel to make my father and I's relationship with communication more effective. Probably, at least try to, sit down with him whenever we're both free more often than, okay, this weekend we're going to do it. I feel like we should try to do it at least twice a month so we can understand each other's point of view, regards of why the communication between us two is off.
Okay, so it seems to me that you have, thought about a plan to initiate so that you can improve on communication with you and your father. Okay, so Brianna, do you feel or have you been feeling abandoned because you cannot effectively communicate with your father?
Yes, I have.
Okay, so has he even been around lately so that you can try to communicate with him more even though you're a college student?
I would have to say not really. Some days he'll, call and check up on me, but the phone calls are only like 2 minutes. So it's just kind of like, hey, how are you? I have to go type of thing, not how's classes, how's college, and, are you homesick or anything? It's just like, okay, I'm just going to call so I can get points that I actually called you and not actually beneficial towards me.
So you just feel that he's not actually talking to you the way you would like to be talked. So have you explained that to him, that you would like him to talk a little bit more to figure out what's actually going on in your life right now?
Yes, I've communicated that to him, but he always says he'll try harder, but then the next day he'll, be better than he was the day before, but it just continues the same cycle, him showing like he doesn't really care at all.
So how would you feel if he did start communicating?
If he did start communicating more, I would feel less abandoned. I would feel like he actually cared instead of trying to ask myself, does he really care about me, or am I just his daughter and he just kind of doesn't really care about me? I would feel really happy that he was actually putting an effort to communicate back and forth with me.
Okay, so I do want to say again that you are doing good with trying to communicate with him, even though he's not accepting it or understanding how you would like him to talk back.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel that, we have discussed a lot in this counseling session, so that you already made a goal that you will try different ways to communicate with him next time.
Mm-hmm.
And so that when we come back, that's the first thing that we can discuss in our session of the different ways that you try to communicate with him and if it worked or not. Okay?
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
No problem.
Have a great day.
You too.